Check, check. Okay. Alrighty, here we are at U.S. Toy Magic Shop. I am Shaun Rivera. We are here with Murray Hatfield. He just gave us a fantastic lecture all the way from Canada. Is that correct?
It is absolutely correct, A.
Very nice. So, how did you get your start in magic?
You know what? So stereotypical. I was 10 years old. My mom hired a magician to come and do my little brother's birthday. And I was the rotten kid going, I saw that, I saw that. And the magician happened to be a young guy. He was about 14 years old from down the street. His name was John Kaplan, who is also a well-known magician up in our parts and down here some places as well. And John, he was smart. Even at 14, he pulled me aside after the show and he said, you seem smart. So I'm going to teach you how to do a trick. And he taught me the rubbing the penny in the elbow. I will never forget it. The smart part was that now, by making me one of them, it meant that I'd shut the hell up the next time I saw a magician. And now, of course, years later, I was a full-timer and he was a full-timer, and we competed on a few shows. And I'm sure at that point he questioned the intelligence of getting me in the biz at that time. But no, that's how I started out, and I was hooked. You know, I went to magic shops, and I bought magic. I bought books. I saw every magic show I could, and at 18, I worked for a couple of months out of high school at the local magic shop at Mickey Hades International. And I decided I didn't want to make my mark selling magic. I wanted to make my mark doing magic. I had one show booked. I quit my job January 1st, 1980, and I haven't had a real job since.
That is awesome. So, who would be your top 3 magical influences?
Oh, easily off the top, I would have to say Doug Henning. I mean, right when I was getting going, he was just hitting his heyday. His first television special back around 1977, 76 was the highest rated television event that year. It beat the Super Bowl. I mean, and it was as far as I know, the first television special, certainly the only magic special ever that was done live. As you were watching it, they were doing it in a studio somewhere. And no one has had the balls to do that again. They did it 3 times, his first 3 specials. Second was David Copperfield. David, I mean, let's face it, he wrote the rule book about what a magician, and especially a stage magician, was all about. And that was, again, right in my formative years. Other than that, I don't have a single person. I have a ton of people that have influenced me tremendously, but in many different ways, from Greg Fruin to Sean Farquhar to, you know, a lot of these guys that are exceptional magicians and also really good friends of mine, and Oscar Munoz, Tom Burgoon. I mean, just a batch of people that I've had the privilege to work with who have also influenced me and the magic that I do greatly.
Very nice. Do you have any non-magical influences? And certainly Cirque du Soleil is a massive influence. Blue Man Group. I mean, I search out anyone who's successful in any area of entertainment, and these people, there's a reason that they're successful, and they all have something to teach us, even if it's not magic. I love studying. I grew up, I took everything I could that I thought could possibly help me in magic. So back when the only people taking typing class in school, because back then there were no computers, back in the dinosaur days, I took typing class. The only other people in there were girls who were mostly going to do secretarial or, you know, something in that realm. Now, do they even have secretaries? I mean, most people do it themselves on a computer. Back then, no one knew how to type except people that took these classes. So I took typing. I took home ec. I learned how to sew in junior high because I knew I would eventually have to fix curtains and backdrops and costumes and stuff. I took drama. I took lighting. I took band. I was a drummer, just so I could learn how to count music and utilize music and understand music. I took dance, jazz dance, when I was like 20 years old. Not because I ever was going to dance on stage. Please don't ever dance on stage if you're not a trained dancer. But I just wanted to be able to move comfortably. When you're on stage and you're interacting with a box, it's really easy to look awkward and stupid. I didn't want to be that. So I took dance. I took everything. So I get my influences from everywhere.
Good stuff. Good answer.
I talk a lot.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Perfectly fine. You mentioned a few minutes ago that when you were younger, you bought up a lot of books. Do you prefer to learn from books or instructional videotapes, DVDs, or both, or neither?
To be honest with you, I would say neither. I did start with the classics, Tarbell, Fitzky, the trilogy, Encyclopedia of Silk Magic, you name it. I have all of those books, and I started getting them when I was young. I was never a particularly good student in high school. I graduated barely, and I don't learn easily reading it on a page. Some of the most painfully learned effects and ones that I hold on dearly are ones that I actually sat down with a book or a pamphlet or written instructions and figured out how the hands went based on the written word. My brain doesn't work that way. I don't watch a lot of DVDs. I don't want to learn it the way someone else does it. So a lot of things I happen to see someone do, and I'll then purchase it at a shop, or if I need to get the props or the things needed for it, and then I'll go home and I'll remember what I saw him do, but then recreate it my own way. But I like that initial influence of seeing it, but I don't want a DVD where I'm just going to go over and over and over and basically become that person. So it's just not the way I learn.
Right on. You mentioned during your lecture that you traveled all over the world on cruise ships. What was your favorite part about cruise ship performing?
The food.
Perfect.
No, to be honest with you, my first cruise, my first real cruise, I had done one or two little 1 week things back when I was not really ready for them. In 1990, I got hired on a cruise line called Royal Viking, which is not even around anymore, but it was the high end of cruising. There's a company called Crystal Cruises that's still around. They were basically almost sister companies. They were competitors, but they were the same level of cruising and the same types of ships made by the same company. And in that 6 months, they flew me to Cape Town, South Africa. I got on the ship there. I did South Africa, South America, Caribbean, North America, Iceland, Europe, Scandinavia, Russia, and then back in 6 months. Over 30 countries in 6 months. That was my favorite thing. I got chased by the secret police in Leningrad. I got stood on Table Mountain in South Africa. I was on Corcovado in Rio de Janeiro. I mean, I got to see all these places and really experience some awesome places just through my work.
Very nice. That is awesome. So how else can we get a hold of you? Are you on Facebook, Twitter, Skype, email, snail mail, website?
I'm not a real Skyper because for me to set aside a certain time that I'm going to get a hold of people or they're going to get a hold of me is tough. Email, always the best, murhat@aol.com. I am one of the few people that still have AOL. It's MURHAT, first couple of letters of my first and last name, murhat@aol. I'm on Facebook at Murray Hatfield. I am on Twitter, but I find it tenuous to come up with witty things to say, so I don't. I'm sort of there, but I don't really do much on it. And my website is murrayhatfieldmagic.com, all one word. And I also have a magic shop in Victoria, very small little teeny shop, nothing like this one. And we're at magictrick.com.
Well, thank you very much for your time. Murray Hatfield, everybody.